morning. I am welcome back to my channel. I'm Noel Lee, and it's been a while since I spoke to you guys. And yeah, I just thought I'd fire up the camera today. I'm in Shenzhen Airport. I just did a bit of a very short live stream with Fernando from the Fermu Bay channel, the Wu Mao Show. So he's off on a plane to somewhere in China, and I just thought I'd see him off at the airport. So I thought I'd just fire up this live stream to, basically say hi to you guys. Maybe we have a bit of a chat because it's been a while since I spoke to you guys. Hey, Eastern Wind, thanks for joining the stream. Yeah, I've been. How you guys? How have you guys been doing? Let me just do this. Hold on. Let me know if everything is good. I'm actually. Yeah, very good. That's good. That's good. So a lot has been happening in my life, I guess, in the past week or so. Interesting stuff. We got visa issues. We got. Oh, you just came back from a vacation. Where did you go? Where did you go? What a nice vacation. Where did you go, Eastern Wind? Which part of the states? I'm not going anywhere. I'm just in the airport because I saw Fernando off. So I'm not actually going anywhere. Is this a better view? Hold on. There we go. I think this is a better view. Yeah. South Carolina. Wow. South Carolina. I have a bit of knowledge about South Carolina in terms of the air base there, the U.S. Air Force Air Base. Because when I'm collecting, when I'm building military models, the F-16s and all these things, there's an air base in South Carolina. So fishing, what's good? What did you fish? Trouts. I'm not too good at fishes, but yeah, let me know what you fished. So yeah, I was having you know uh, experiences with visa. I was having experiences with I don't know, some brand issue. Seawater fishing. Wow, that's interesting. I got a cousin who is into fishing, and I got a friend who is actually in who has a factory that makes the tackles, right? These rubbery fishes. It's like made of rubber, like a very soft silicone plastic, very soft plastic, and they actually print the look of the fish on these little things. So it looks like a fish from afar, and it's used to, I guess, for the fishing. So yeah, um, so let's talk about let's talk about my situation with my brand first. It is so it is so frustrating. So what happened is I have a brand. Uh, of course, you guys know it's Caliber Wings, and I did this brand since 2015. So it's a brand for skill models, specifically for military aircraft skill models. So it's you guys can Google it, right? Caliber Wings. So, but I did not register the the brand per se, right? I mean, I just created a brand. I just went with it, hoping to build the brand name, and I did so in the past, 6 years, 5 6 years, and all of a sudden, I was informed that somebody in Beijing had registered Caliber Wings as his own. He just registered the brand. There is no logo, but it's not Caliber Wings coffee or Caliber Wings apparels or whatever. It is specifically Caliber Wings skill models. So that's actually what I'm doing. So it's very specific. It's not even yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's not even like something else. It's, hey Mark, so it's specific Caliber Wings models. So initial speculation is that this could be somebody who is a competitor, but I have no idea why somebody would want to register a name that they don't own, right? Um, so what I did was I submitted my documents to the bureau here in China to explain and show proof that I am the actual creator and owner of Caliber Wings, including my website, my brand, my products, everything, right? And I just got the results just 2 days ago. And the result is that no, I cannot use Caliber Wings. I got to do another name, another brand. As it stands, Caliber Wings remains owned by the guy in Beijing who registered. So it's like a first come, first serve basis. So it's very frustrating because why should I, after building my brand for the past 5 years, change name simply because somebody registered the name? But if you were to look at it from a pure, uh, hey, cafe logist, if you look at it from a pure factual, from a third party, from an outsider, you would think that, yeah, the guy is right because he registered the name first. So he is the owner. Plain and simple, black and white. You know what I'm saying? Just too bad. It's a case of just too bad. It's like people who sit on websites, the name of websites, right? www.something.com. They just sit on it so that in case somebody wants the website, then they can ask for a fee for the person or the company to buy over what you own. So it's a bit of, yeah, I can understand this. I can understand this particular angle, okay? But I think it's just illogical that the bureau is telling me that after presenting all the documents and supporting evidence, the answer is that they cannot refute the, hey Denise, they cannot refute the initial party's ownership, which means that what he registered stands because he registered first. They are not going to tell this guy, excuse me, Mr. So and so, we have to revoke your registration because somebody else, came in. You know what I'm saying? So I I can understand that this is part of China's steps to protect trademarks and intellectual properties, but in this case, it has backfired. Because yes, if you were to register your trademark, this is actually a prevention from any people with nefarious intentions to copy or counterfeit your brand. Um, hello, voice of SG food delivery. So, you know what I'm saying? It is good that they have all these things in place in China. You register a brand, you register something, and you're protected. You're protected. But in this case, obviously, it's backfired because obviously obvious, that guy doesn't own Caliber Wings. That's obvious, right? And he did not register it in 2014 or 2005, but he registered in 2020. So, I mean, And okay, if this guy, so now my next step is I'm going to try to how does an international business register? No, I don't know about that. Hold on. So right now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to maybe get in touch with hey J SA. So I'm trying to get in touch with this person in Beijing, right? To ask him, hey bro, what's up? See? So that is my next step of action. Because I don't want to go into conspiracy theories about whether it's a competitor or somebody, but definitely this person knows Caliber Wings. This person knows Caliber Wings. He did a check somehow and found that, oh, it's not registered in China, so let's register it. I'm not sure what his intentions are until I contact this person, which I intend to do. So that will be my next step of my actions. But I'm just trying to share with you guys what might happen if I do nothing about it. So either nothing happens, right? Or this guy or person can have the authority to call the authorities to say, hey, go to this place. There's a lot of Caliber Wings products. It's mine. He shows his paper that he owns Caliber Wings, and the authorities can go to my warehouse and seize all my products because he owns Caliber Wings, and he claims that all these products is me counterfeiting his brand. You see this? You see the danger? So yeah, this is sort of yeah, it's a buggeration. It's a buggeration. But you know what I'm saying? I was actually on the cusp of changing the brand name. But why should I? Right? Why should I? Just because somebody sits on the brand name, why should I change my brand name? So yeah. So that is something that happened recently that I got to, it's definitely taking up my valuable brain cells. And of course the next thing is the visa issue. So I've been given another 30 days visa, and I would be happy to just go and do the hassle of registering uh registering wrong renewing. I have no problems going every month to the visa office to renew my visa, so long as they renew my visa 1 month at a time, pay the 160 RMB, But from what I heard, the the visa authorities in Dongguan has ceased to issue the 30 days to foreigners. So what does that mean? That means that there is a chance that it might soon be Shenzhen's turn for them to stop issuing the 30 days. Could. Doesn't mean they will. We don't know. Only time will tell. Only when they tell me that they can't renew it, will I know that they can't renew it. But yeah, so those are the basically the things that is on my back of my mind right now. Plus, of course, I have to you know manage my time. I got ongoing projects. I got trips coming up. I'm actually going to Guangzhou next weekend on the 19th. That is for meeting up with the Singapore Consulate General, where they will have a bit of a Singapore National Day celebration. So all thanks to Stephen for that particular referral. So yeah, so going to Guangzhou next weekend, and then at the end of the month, on the 29th, I think, of September, I'll be heading to Zhuhai for the air show. So looking forward to that. And of course, In October, I'll be busy with a bit of a production batch of my figures. And come end of November, hopefully, I get that press pass for Wonder Festival. Hey, Steven. Hope I get that press pass for Wonder Festival Beijing so that I can get to Beijing end of November and do a stream for Wonder Festival, as well as to visit the new Universal Studios Beijing. So those are the pretty much trips that's being planned for the rest of the year, as well as of course my work schedule and stuff like that. Plus renewing visas and potentially renewing also the driver's license that expires on the 1st of November. So yeah. Is it a busy schedule now? It's not. It's okay. It's not okay. It's not that busy. Not that busy at all. And I've been having trouble sleeping the past few days, meaning that I sort of sleep at about 4 5 a.m. in the morning and wake up at noon. Oh, so my timing is all screwed up. So as the saying goes, legal system is blind, huh? So let's see. Voice of SG, food delivery rider. Unutilized trademarks should be invalidated, but rule-based systems are constrained by itself. Okay. Eastern Wind says patent trolling everywhere in the world. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's just so strange. Can I register Caliber Wings specify in toy brand only? No, it's all the same. It's a toy and model. It's the same category. I registered my business in Hong Kong, and apparently, and obviously, Hong Kong and China are two different systems. So you have got to register in China itself, and if you even dissect it even further, different provinces in China have different rules. Yeah, which means that if you have a business registered in Guangdong, and if you move to Beijing, you got to re-register a new business there because you can't just use the Guangdong license business registration to use in Beijing. That's what I understand. So yeah, it's quite complicated. Is that correct? Is it in the States, same as in the States? Yeah, I am trying to get myself to finish the backlog of videos, and one of it includes me just doing a simple video on how you can actually change your license to a Chinese one just by going to the proper bureau, at least here in Shenzhen. I'm not sure about elsewhere in the country, but at least in Shenzhen, there's a specific bureau to go to, and you just need to pay 10 RMB. You can get your license, at least for a Hong Kong license, to be converted to a temporary license in China for 3 months validity. And I found out from Lee Barrett, from the Barretts, that different countries' license would probably equate to a different duration. But at least for me, the Hong Kong license entitled me to a 3 month license, regardless of what my visa says. I'm sorry. Whereas Lee Barrett told me that the driver's license is attached to the visa, which means if your visa is, uh, let's say, right, valid till end of October, and you go apply for the license in September, then your license is not 3 months, but only valid until the end of October. So it depends. It really depends. This is something new that I learned. But at least from the time that I changed my Hong Kong license to the Chinese one, I thought that any overseas license can be changed for at least a 3-month period, because that's what I asked the person at the desk who made the license for me. And I asked, is it correct that I can just change my license if I was a foreigner? And the answer back then was yes. But obviously, there might be some lack of knowledge or some change of policies, because at least what Lee Barrett told me is that his license is attached to his visa's validity. So, yeah. But then again, who knows? By the time you guys can come to China, things could have changed again. It's rapidly changing. Because before the pandemic, a Singaporean passport is entitled to 15 days visa-free entrance into China, but that has been abolished since the pandemic started. So yeah. I don't think it's a dark side of doing business in China. I would just fault myself for not doing the proper steps, because I guess any due diligent businessman would have done the necessary foundation or the necessary steps to make sure that the brand first, right? So I not being business acute minded enough to do these steps. Hence, I'm in this predicament. So I wouldn't fault that it is a dark side of doing business in China. I don't think so. Uh, like, did I just lost you guys there? I was walking around. Let me know if I lost you guys. Okay, so like I said, there is, if you follow the steps, if you follow the steps, like any country's requirements, then you can do your business over here without any problems. You do it properly, right? You do as according to the regulations, and that's about it, right? There is no dark side. I don't think there's any dark side. What dark side is there? My day job would be, like I said, my hey Brooke, my day job would be my models and figure business, right? Yeah, Brooke, it's really a short one, because apparently we thought it'd be just a bit longer, but Fernando's plane was already calling him to board, so too bad, or rather, good that he's on time. So yeah, I definitely have a sort of a business which is doing. There's a lot of requests to do a lot of different aircraft models, but I can only do so much with my resources, right? I don't have a team of like 20 people, handling many different projects at one time, right? So it's just myself. So I'm doing it as a one-man operation. So there are definitely restrictions or limitations in terms of resources. Yeah, I like to think of myself as maybe doing a very like a like a bespoke tailor, a bespoke. I'm doing bespoke models. I'm doing bespoke collectibles, right? Even the figures that I'm doing, the action figures, it's very bespoke. You know, we don't rush it. We take our time to design it properly. Of course, we have to be mindful of deliverable dates. We don't want to be like taking our time too much. We take our time with the design, but we don't take our time with the production, meaning that, hey, Elise Lightyear is in the house. Hey, Elise, I could be in Beijing this November, end of November. So I'm going to hook you up if I do make it to Beijing. And what do you say? Join me to Universal Studios Beijing. Yeah. You could even join Wonder Festival if you want. And how's things on your side? With the school, well, with the reforms in China regarding school English teachers, is that affecting you at least? Let me know, or you can let me know when I get to Beijing, if I get to Beijing. Yeah, let's go. Right. Tentatively now, it's set for the end of November, meaning it's really the end, right? Yes, Mark, I'll get the date in just a minute. End of November, as in the 28th, 29th, around there. That's Wonder Festival. So once I finish Wonder Festival, then I'll free up the time to go to uh, Universal Studios Beijing. So back to Mark's mention of XM Studios. So XM Studios is a success story, in my opinion. In my opinion, okay, again, uh, don't be offended. In my opinion, they got the funding, and hence they could progress. XM Studios started as a little shop in Bras Basah complex, selling unofficial resin statues, right? They get these resin recasts either from Thailand, Taiwan, or Hong Kong, and you know they sell it as models, right? Resin model, and paint it yourself. But they also offer painting and assembly services. That's how they did their business from when I knew them back in Bras Basah. This was like, I don't know, 1990, yeah, mid 90s, you know. So apparently, when I went back to Singapore in the late 2000s, and voila, XM Studios, you know, getting all the licenses and all these things. So I mean, you can do the math, right? It's not cheap to obtain the license, and moreover, it's not cheap to engage artists to do sculpting for you. So you have, on one hand, you have the sculpting fees to pay for the sculptors, the artists. On the other hand, you have license fees to pay the licensors. And it's not just one license, there's many licenses, and they are getting not obscure license, but prominent license like Marvel, right? So do the math, and it takes a lot of money to get this going. So I would reckon that if I had the money, like XM Studios, I would probably be in a different position compared to what I am now. But it is what it is, right? Doesn't mean that the funding would have benefited me for sure. It's a what if, right? What if the funding came and I had all these problems that I have now with the factories and I couldn't deliver? And it could definitely have negative ramifications, right? For not being able to deliver on what the investment had. What's the word I'm looking for? Contracted, contractualized, you know. So yeah, it depends. So yeah, XM Studios are doing well, so good for them. You know, wish them continued success because um, yeah, yes, Mark, pros and cons. If there is investment, that means I guess the freedom is much more limited. There are certain deliverables definitely, but I don't actually see how at the moment that it's bad for XM. I think he is doing well from what I can see. Of course I don't know the inner workings, but like I said, I wish him all the best. It's good that he represents Singapore in the collectibles scene, where we are looking at players like Sideshow, like Prime One Studios from Japan, like Hot Toys from Hong Kong. So it's good to have a solid representation from Singapore. So all the best to him and more power to XM. Yeah. All right, guys. So we touched on the visa situation. We touched on my conundrum with my brand. Oh man. So yeah, life goes on. Life goes on, and I was watching Daniel Dumbrill last night with Brian Belatic from the New Atlas channel. Very insightful discussion. You guys should go watch it. Check out Daniel Dumbrill's channel. You can find the video. It's I think about 12 hours old. Okay. Very insightful for you guys who are intrigued or have the appetite for this kind of stuff. You definitely will enjoy it. But again, it's not for everybody, right? Like I like to say, had I not been in China now, I'll probably have a different perspective on things, because I'm being fed the what you might call it own research. Then you will just take it as it is. Then I think I have this theory. I have this theory that these are extremely great storytellers. They make a story, hence Hollywood. But the things that is fabricated, so to speak, is best left at a Hollywood level. When these are actually happening on a real global scale, when these kind of stories, this kind of, you know, I mean, these are all fiction, isn't it? The Bourne Supremacy, uh, all your espionage stories, Jack Ryan, this kind of stuff. But when you start applying it to countries, like making Xinjiang having the genocide, and then all these things in what's that? The Gaddafi thing, right? Then you will start to yeah, it's disturbing, isn't it? That real countries that were previously minding their own business. Uh, yes, Jay, Daniel Dumbrill and Brian are the elite level in terms of research and delivery of their content. So very much so, very much so. And on the flip side, you have the Winstons and the Lawais, who are real masters at delivering their bullshit. So you see, um, yeah. And Daniel and Brian also mentioned in the video that there are two types of people: the people that want to hear the truth, and the people that want to hear what they just want to hear. And I would surmise that the audience of the Lawais and the Mats, wrong, the Lawais and the Winstons are those that just want to hear. They want to be comforted to hear that the US can do no wrong, and that every other country in the world are evil. That's what they want to hear. Because that's the basis of white supremacy. That's the basis of a mindset of a person who believes that his race is superior than any other human being on this earth. And that's sad. And like I said before, when I was doing my first ever video on YouTube, when I was in Shenzhen walking the park, I grew up not knowing that there is a differentiation of races. I just knew that there's different people. I knew that I'm a Chinese, and I knew that there's Indians and Malays and Caucasians. And I never had any feeling that I was superior to the Indian or superior to the Malays, or, you know, but I did momentarily have an inferior complex when looking to a white person. That I can tell. And I mentioned that in the podcast that I had with hold on, I think I'm missing his name. So the Honest Drink podcast, okay. um I did express my honest experience that growing up I would view Americans as sort of like a bit superior. Hello, JK. Yeah, so, and I guess all these comes from the initial brainwashing that, as growing up as a kid, I see on TV, mostly American productions, right? All this kind of stuff. I mean, grow up watching Rambo, watching Arnold Schwarzenegger, watching Tom Cruise, this kind of stuff. So, right? If you feel me, and not to say that again, not to say that everybody is a bad guy. Definitely not. Definitely not. It's just that it just takes a few bad apples to ruin the whole basket, or rather, a few bad eggs, rotten eggs. That's good. Yeah, I don't have that inferior complex now compared to when I was much younger. That's what I'm saying. I was even standing up to my US distributors when they made some demands, which I felt was kind of ridiculous, like not placing a deposit on the order when it was normal policies that we had before, and even not placing a deposit is one thing, but even to tell me that the goods must arrive cleared customs and into their warehouse in the US before they remit payment to me. That is, I mean, I'm a small setup. If they decide not to pay me for that batch of goods, I'm as good as gone, right? So I can't take the kind of risk. So I wrote back and I stood my ground and I said this is not happening, right? So in that sense, I felt I was able to stand up for you know an American's demand that I felt was totally out of line. I mean, if I was feeling that inferiority complex, I would say, okay, sure, whatever you say, you're the man. But no, I'm not. I'm beyond that. I'm beyond that. Another example: when I was in a train in Hong Kong going up to Lo Wu, it was a crowded train. This was I would think about maybe at least 3.5 to 4 years ago. I was in a train. It was packed, and there's this Caucasian guy in the packed train with me. And what happened is he shoulder checked me. He sort of elbowed me, right? I can feel the force of the elbow. And I stood up and I told him, "Hey man, what's up? What's up, man?" Because in his mind, I would think of myself being able to empathize what the other person is feeling. So I could empathize that he is thinking that I'm just a Chinaman, sort of pushing him, and he's trying to show his strength by giving me a bit of an elbow, a bit of a. I can feel that elbow. That I can feel a intended force versus an unintentional force. So what? So my contact with him was unintentional because the train was moving, right? So I bumped into him because the train was moving, but not because I tried to, you know, shove him aside. But he gave me an elbow check. So I told him, "Hey man, don't give me the elbow check. This is a freaking crowded train, and when I bump into you, it was not intentional. You don't have to give me this elbow check." So he was like shocked. He was like shocked, right? But I guess there was no other confrontation after that, so it was all good. But I mean that what I'm trying to point out there is that, you know, I mean, even if it's not Caucasian, if he was Chinese and he did that to me, I would say the same thing. That's my point. But it happens that he is a Caucasian and he happened to do this action, which I sincerely believe was him trying to say, don't, F around, you know, that sort of thing. But on the flip side, I'm telling him, don't F around with me. Anyway, that's my little bit of a rant. What you guys been talking about since that rant scene? Xavier, Javier, we have such mentality, inferior racist people in SG2. Oh no, I'm on this direct YouTube, so I can't see the chat. I got to actually look at my phone because it's not StreamYard. I can't see the chat actually. The one chat comes up and it disappears. Yeah, we have, which was why growing up, I was never comfortable with those racist jokes, which apparently people love when Trevor Noah, Russell Peters, even Ronnie Chang does the comedy about these racist jokes. And I guess I can see the angle that if you can't laugh at something, it's not good. The fact that you can laugh at, yeah, exactly. They said that it is because you laugh at yourself. So yes, as long as we take it in that way, I guess it's fine, right? Uh, but a comedian delivering the joke is different from us talking amongst ourselves, right? You know what I'm saying? I would never openly tell you the racist jokes, but I heard a lot of racist jokes in my time growing up, and I was never really comfortable with it. And the fact that these jokes comes from my peers, I really don't know back in the day whether um, whether they had racist intent. Yeah, because like I said, I never had this notion of racism when I grew up. You mentioned that the reason why laugh at yourself is meant to check people's ego and balance. Yeah, okay. Which is why I guess in the US they got such shows as the roast of somebody, roasting a celebrity, right? We can go up there and roast a celebrity, roast the counterpart, right? So yeah, I can see that definitely. But I think it's not something in the Asian culture, right? Right? I think in the Asian culture, hey, good morning, YTL. I think in the Asian culture we don't normally roast somebody. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, is it something I'm missing? I mean, do we also Asians roast each other? I don't think we do that, right? Because I think Asians are more thin skinned and Westerners are more thick skinned, right? So again, it goes to show that we are different, very different, very different. And the most important thing is to be able to be empathetic to these differences. Westerners aren't thick skinned. Yeah, it's ironic, isn't it? They allow the roast and yet they are not thick skinned. That's actually very ironic. That's actually very right. Okay, so we have again two factions. We have people who don't care and are termed thick skinned, and we have people who actually care and hence are not the so-called stereotypical thick skin. So yeah, it's and I was just talking to Fernando just now about how nowadays we have to sort of do a checklist in a sense that if this guy doesn't agree with me on this particular subject, then he's not my friend. Which I think is kind of sad that I mean, are friends allowed to have a difference of opinions, like good friends, good buddies? Because good friends, good buddies are supposed to be all so like-minded, isn't it? That they are good buddies, right? So yeah, of course, exactly. I mean, of course, good buddies can have a difference of opinions in terms of the car that they like, or the type of girl that they like, or on the flip side, girls, the type of guys that they like. They can have a difference of opinions there, casual exchange. But I'm talking about more heavy stuff, like in Hong Kong. How many friends and families have distanced themselves because of a difference of opinion, whether you are blue or yellow? I mean, it's very sad because we have friends who are, in my opinion, I mean, in my experience, we have friends who are in the same cohort who collects toys, in the same group who likes hiking and running, and yet once this came about, there is such a massive difference of mindset that but the problem is I have no problems with them expressing their differences, but they have a problem with me expressing my difference. That is the main problem, right? Because fortunately for me, I don't have friends who are actually the real protesters, but they are the yellow. You know what I'm saying? So they're not the frontline protesters, but they are of the yellow camp. So that is what bothers me. I don't know, man. So guys, this pandemic is really causing no end, isn't it? There is no end to this pandemic. Singapore is opening up. There is the vaccine travel lane, vaccinated travel lane VTL, where Singapore has since allowed travelers from Brunei and Germany to enter Singapore without quarantine, so long as they are vaccinated. Limited to, like, I don't know, 100 a day. I'm not sure about that. And at the same time, Singapore is experiencing a surge in COVID cases with 450 cases the last 2 days, and it is expected to exponentially increase to 1,000 and then 2,000. My God. Oh my goodness. And hello PG1. I'm not heading anywhere. I'm actually, hey Albert, I just sent off Fernando at the airport about, I would say, an hour ago. And I just started the live stream just to chat with you guys since I'm here. A nice background. So yeah, and US CDC is just recently warning about don't travel to Brunei. I don't know where that came from. Yeah, it's really this COVID thing is not over, man. Singapore has about 80% vaccination, and yet the cases are rising in terms of infection. That clearly tells you um, that vaccination does not prevent you from being infected. It just, as they say, helps prevent the worsening of your condition should you catch the virus. So that is really, yeah, I mean, yeah, keeps you out of ICU, right? So only time will tell. Only time will tell what's going to happen to Singapore now that cases are rising, and we are allowing travelers quarantine free. As a Singaporean, I am really feeling it because I definitely want my country to be doing well. And the reason why we have to open up is because we are suffering. The economy is suffering. And that is always the go-to line for opening up. Economy is suffering, businesses are suffering, people are suffering, there's no money. But is that really the case? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we all know growing up that Singapore is a island that's dependent on tourism for its success. Um, since growing up, it's in our textbooks. We all learn that Singapore's prosperity thrives on tourism and investment from other countries, right? Uh, so the moment you turn off the tap of tourism, surely businesses that depends on tourism, given such a long period of time without tourists, is gonna fall, isn't it? And it has come to a point of time where Singaporeans, again, I really don't know if Singaporeans know the severity of this disease, of this virus, because Singaporeans live a very privileged life. Correct me if I'm wrong. Singaporeans live a very privileged life. We don't know what it is to be in true hardship. We don't know. Or maybe I don't know because I'm now in China. I don't know the true hardship that our people are experiencing in this past year and a half with COVID. No, perhaps I'm the ignorant one. Let me know, right? But from my perspective, I believe Singaporeans don't know what jialat really means. Jialat is a dialect term that we use for serious, catastrophic. So, do Singaporeans know? I mean, when they are calling for borders to be open, I mean, these Singaporeans who are calling for borders to be open, do they really know what they are in for, right? Uh, I mean, when I read all these Facebook comments about, I mean, there's this lady who said, I got into a bit of a back and forth with her, but I still believe that she has good intentions. All right. She posted in the Facebook when there was a Straits Times post about COVID for, I think if I'm not mistaken, there was this case of a boy or a man who died from vaccine shot in Singapore. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. And then she posted, she said that she wished all the world's government can just come together and just decide to open up the borders. Isn't that a very naive and ignorant comment? And she said, now with the vaccine in place, the elderlies are protected. And let those who are young and healthy, you know, fend off the virus by themselves. There are reports recently of again I'm seeing all this, but I don't know who mentioned it. Somebody was fought cancer for 9 years, but COVID took her in like a few days. So that goes to show you that whatever you mentioned, this lady mentioned about the elders are being vaccinated. So open up the borders, let the dogs out. It's not a wise choice because even the elders who are vaccinated, who have underlying conditions, are seriously at risk. You know, I don't know, man. I I feel that again, I could be wrong. I feel that the people in Singapore who are calling for borders to be open just want to travel. They are just they're just cooped up, and they want to travel. So anyway, again, it's easy for me to say because I'm here in China and I'm not experiencing 400 cases a day, 1,000 cases a day. Even in the US, they are saying right now 1,000 people are still dying each day of COVID in the US right now. And there is a recent call from Biden, President Biden. He said he urges all unvaccinated people to go get vaccinated. And he leans forward, his usual lean forward. He leans forward and say, "What are you waiting for?" He seems to be issuing some sort of ultimatum. Firstly, for companies who have more than 100 staff to ensure that their staff are vaccinated. And the more in-depth thing to this is that the US is not as free as they say it to be. If the country mandates that everybody needs to be vaccinated, because you're supposed to be free to choose, right? I can choose whether I want to be vaccinated or not. But if the government now mandates that Americans must be vaccinated, then doesn't look too good on the freedom card, isn't it? Which simply means that you need to differentiate what exactly is freedom. Freedom doesn't mean a mandate of vaccination is a breach of freedom, because you're getting this whole concept of freedom wrong. It's just mind-boggling. Anyways, what are you guys talking about? Is that right? So Albert is saying that Singapore is spiraling into a dark hole. Yeah, time will only tell if our healthcare system will be overwhelmed, because the ministers have already, in their speech, basically know that there is going to be high potential of when they need ICU beds. That's why they talked about the ICU beds, right? They talked about how many ICU beds that they have. So the fact that they talk about ICU beds means that they are already anticipating, they've done their homework, which is a good thing, right? They know what they're talking about. They know that ICU beds will be needed soon. But on the flip side, if they know that ICU beds will be needed soon, that means they know that 80% vaccination still results in ICU beds. That means something's a problem, isn't it? My goodness. Lim YF, yes, I may not know exactly what the Singaporean lady is feeling after being uh, the past 1.5 years. That's why I am not immediately shutting her down. Rather, I posed the question. I asked her what is the purpose of wanting the borders to be open? Is it to travel or for what? Because if it's for business, then isn't other foreign nationals coming into Singapore also potentially carrying the virus? You see what I'm saying here? So in the interest of trying to open up for business, your business has a high potential to come with free virus. And now even more so of a mutated kind. The Delta, the MU, and who knows what other variants might be the result of a Singapore cluster. Previously, last year, the Indian minister falsely talked about a Singapore variant, but it could be true, you know. It could be true that there could be a Singapore variant on the horizon. So it comes back to me now. The question, am I vaccinated? No, I'm not vaccinated. Okay. I'm not vaccinated because I'm in China now, where there's no cases. And there is currently no requirement for me to be vaccinated. It's not a mandate. The day when it becomes a mandate is the day I'll be vaccinated. For me, it's that simple. But if I'm in Singapore now, then I will have to go to get vaccinated because it's part of the mandate to be vaccinated. So that's my stand on vaccination. Will I turn into a zombie? Well, on that note, I'd like to comment a little bit because I'm sure you guys all saw the CNN footage of the mass burial in, I think it's either Staten Island or something in New York last year when the states was having all these high deaths, and because they weren't cremated, they were just placed in mass burials. So that was when I had the idea that could they turn into zombies because of all the influence that we get from Western movies of all these zombie stuff. And because most of the 80s movies have come true in terms of future, right? In the 80s, when they do the futuristic movies, most of it has pretty much materialized. So you don't actually count out on this zombie thing, although it's really kind of far fetched, right? So Albert says that in his opinion, SG government could have done a better job assuring the citizens that benefit. Well, I think, in my opinion, the current batch of ministers lack the iron in them. Because when I see the way they speak, it is almost like Atsaya mo kamyong la, Pengwa la. I'm using Cantonese, by the way. It's almost like, hey boy, hey, it's like you talking to your beloved children. Don't be like that. Uh, you know what I'm saying? No, in my opinion, you should be holding a freaking cane in your hand and say, boy, you better behave or else. But then again, I know that would be authoritarian. That would be that would be that's not right. You are breaching rights, basic human rights. You are being a dictator. Yes, I get that. I get that. But but that's the way we roll. That's the way we roll, right? Um, I would grab the cane and I would say, "Hey, boy, you better watch what you're doing. This is a serious thing." Instead of we advise everybody to stay home, avoid unnecessary travel, avoid social gatherings, please, please. No, that's not the way to talk. Okay, even if you don't shout at anybody, you have to use it. Again, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? You have to use a tone that people get that you're not kidding around. Yes, there's no need to shout, sure, right? There's no need to, and I'm sure there's lots of experts in speech that can advise these people how to say it. Not like me, right? I don't have people to advise me. So when I say it, I say it. I get a bit passionate. I get a bit loud, as you guys saw me in my exchange with Martin Pedersen, because there's nobody advising me, right? But there are people advising these ministers, and you can deliver your speech in a very assertive way, stern, and yet you're not shouting, isn't it? So I don't know, man. Cafe Logist says they're using the Japanese way. The Japanese way is also something that boggles my mind. What's up with the Japanese Prime Minister always just stepping down? Right? You got a Prime Minister, he steps down, resigns, and then he gets back up again. And then you got another Prime Minister, he resigns and stepped down. What's going on? What is going on in Japan, man? I mean, with all due respect, I love going to Japan. I got Japanese friends, but what is up? What is up with the? I mean, I'm not into Japanese politics. I don't know the system, but what I'm seeing is all these, resigning and stepping down and stuff like that. What's going on there, man? Hey, James. So yeah, it's kind of funny. It's really kind of funny. So anyway, today is a Saturday. Time flies. I'm gonna head back, probably take a nap because I woke up at 5 a.m. This morning. I got a nice EPL match to watch tonight. Manchester United versus Newcastle, with hopefully Cristiano Ronaldo back in the starting lineup. And I will be, yeah. Let's see if I can work on that video about the driver's license. I have that video on Chongqing's Shichiko, which I to add narration. I pretty much got the footage in place. I just need to add narration, and I want to maybe start my script on a certain few other topics which I was thinking about. Yeah, basically mind-boggling subjects. I just want to make sure I sit down and make sure it makes sense, right? Because sometimes if I just don't have a script, I just go ranting on. It doesn't look good. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me this morning. Impromptu. And now I'm gonna bid you guys farewell and see you guys really soon. All right. Signing off from Shenzhen Internet. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.